Hey, it's Andrew. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit the great big subscribe button. The great big subscribe button right here, right now. So we're going to be discussing in today's episode, is it fair for a sexual person to be in a relationship with an asexual person? And how would that even work? Welcome to tonight's episode. If you're new here, I'm Sandra Bellamy, author of this awesome book called Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories. I published this in 2017 and it's still relevant to today. So if you want help with love, life, and sex from an asexual point of view, this is a book to get on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Blackwell's, or Waterstones. Even Walmart sell this. So let's get stuck in because we're going to be reading from this for Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month to celebrate our diversity across the asexual spectrum and our differences within it. Let's get going. Oh, here's one I made earlier. Here's a copy. Right. So if you've got a copy of the book at home, follow along. Do you believe if a sexual person had a relationship with an asexual, it can work? And what do you think about it being fair or not? This is Philippa Duke's story. I know that I would be highly suspicious if someone told me they could deal with not having sex after a life of it being part of the relationship process. I would be questioning them at every corner, waiting for them to try it on or something. I really don't think I could trust that they are telling the truth or truly understand just how big a no it is, as to me ever having sex with them. I suspect they would want to change me, like they think they have the cure. No, 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 no. I don't have trust. I don't have enough trust in me to do that. Just like I can't turn on my sexual, or just like I can't turn my sexual on, how could they turn their sexual off? Now, I want to address a few issues in here because this person said, I don't have enough trust in me to do that. But really, it's not totally about the trust in themselves, it's about trusting other people. And I am of a similar mindset to Philippa because I've been on the dating scene now for about 9 years, and nearly every single sexual person I've come across, heterosexual person, can't actually live without sex, and they either, well, even when I've been in relationships in the past, in the end they usually cheat, to be honest. And so it's not good. So I do understand completely where Philip is coming from, but it's not really about she doesn't have enough trust in her to do that. It's about the fact that she doesn't trust the other person, you know? And so if you don't trust a sexual to not be without sex, that's not a reflection on you personally. It's just the fact that you've had a lot of experiences where experiences told you otherwise, basically. So I think it's very interesting as well that Philippa says, if someone told me they could deal with not having sex after a life of it being part of the relationship process. Yeah, I mean, if they're used to having sex, then to be without it would be difficult. I guess the only way it would work is if the sexual person was in fact like really not interested in sex, like they'd had sex in their life and they were just pretty much past it, if you know what I mean. Or maybe they discover later on they're asexual. You know, there are some asexuals that have had a lot of sex in the past because they didn't realize there was anything different about them until they woke up to themselves, you know? But I think it's a very interesting phrase they've used, just like I can't turn my sexual on. How could they turn their sexual off? And I do understand where she's coming from. You know, if sexuals have an innate need and desire to have sex, and that's a very important factor for them in a relationship, it means really you're just not compatible with that person. You have to let each other go. There is no point in staying with the wrong person if the right one is out there for you. And if that person wants something you don't want, they're not right for you. You know, you could care about them, love them all you want, but at the end of the day, if they want sex and you don't want it and there's no compromise there, that's it, isn't it? So anyway, this is Robin's story, page 43, if you've got the book. Do you believe if a sexual person had a relationship with an asexual, it can work? And what do you think about it being fair or not? I think it really depends on the people involved, says Robin. I know a few asexual relationships in which the sexual person, out of respect for the asexual partner, does not ever have sex with their asexual partner. However, I don't think the majority of sexual people are like that. Even those who respect the asexual partner's wish to not have sex would still want to have sex and so form a compromise with their asexual partner about it. For example, agreeing on the amount of sex to have within a certain time period, so the amount of sex does not overwhelm the asexual partner. In other words, an asexual who wishes to have a relationship with a sexual partner should expect to have sex in the majority of cases. As much as it depends on what the sexual partner wants, it also depends on what the asexual person is willing and able to tolerate in terms of sex. I also know that some asexual people do enjoy sex, so in that case, having sex with their sexual partner at their request may not be a problem at all. So we've got a few things here going on, right? Robin says that they know of a few asexual relationships in which the sexual person, out of respect for their partner, their asexual partner does not have sex ever with them. I actually know someone who, from years ago, who is Pakistani, and his wife she acted like she liked sex before they got married. Actually, I don't think they had sex before they got married. Or did they? Basically, when they first got married, I know for sure when they first got married, before they had a child, she had sex with him quite regularly, he told me. And then basically it just stopped after she had a kid. And I know some asexuals are that way inclined, they have sex just to have kids and that's it. But she might be free sexual. I don't know. We didn't go into it and dive deep, but he doesn't have sex with other women, he told me. Even though it's really difficult for him because he has a huge sex drive and he does love sex. And it's really hard for him. So, yeah, I admire the fact that he doesn't have sex with other women. I really admire the fact he doesn't do that. And so it's very important that you understand, if you're a sexual person with an asexual person, that some asexuals just can't have sex and they won't be having it. So you've got to decide what you want, really. But I personally am so sex repulsed these days, I can't bring myself to have sex. So if I was with a heterosexual guy, I just can't have sex. I don't want to have any type of sex. So it's a big deal, really, because I can't give the sexual person what they want in that way. So I would always recommend them just moving on to find someone else, because there's no point if they need sex and I don't want it. So, do you believe if a sexual person had a relationship with an asexual, it can work? J, possibly, I'm not sure. I have had no experience with this topic, but I'd like to say yes, it's possible. So this person doesn't at all know, but they'd like to say it's possible. So then we're going on to D's story. Do you believe if a sexual person had a relationship with an asexual, it can work? And what do you think about being fair or not? First of all, I'm certainly no authority on working relationships. In fact, asexuality aside, sometimes I doubt if any work. I'll put my teeth back in. I'm all too many teeth tonight. Right. In fact, asexuality aside, sometimes I doubt if any relationship can truly work. But cynicism aside, I think it can work in cases. For one, every relationship has its sticking point, and as I understand it, every relationship has its sticking point, And as I understand it, sex drive mismatch is a common problem even among sexual folks. I think it's important that sexual individual be very comfortable not having sex, or the asexual person be very comfortable with having sex, ideally both. So I found that very interesting that they said that it seems like sex drive is a common mismatch even among sexual folk. I think that's probably true, but for them to specifically highlight that is very interesting as an important point. I mean, I thought I was heterosexual for years, but with my last long-term ex, we go sometimes 2 or 3 months without having sex, which I so loved. Like, not having the sex, but we still do kissing and other stuff, which is much more my preference. But yeah, I think it's, like, really important that if you're an asexual who's sex repulsed, you find a sexual person, if you're gonna be in a relationship with a sexual person who really doesn't need sex at all and is quite happy not to have it because they are not bothered and their sex drive is not that high. So, Jamie James's story. Do you believe if a sexual person had a relationship with an asexual, it can work? And what do you think about it being fair or not? I'm guessing it could work, but it depends on the person. 9 out of 10 times, probably not, but on rare occasion, it could. I don't see a problem with it, and the fairness is on perception. As an outsider looking in, I could say fairness doesn't matter. But if you're in that relationship, although you'd be in your beliefs, you wouldn't want to hurt your partner. So you'd want to also you'd also want his beliefs met. I'll read that bit again. I could say fairness doesn't matter, but if you're in that relationship, although you'd believe in your beliefs, you wouldn't want to hurt your partner. So you'd also want his beliefs met. Yeah, I think you have to be completely honest, upfront, and open with the person about what you truly want from the very beginning for it to be fair. Because at the end of the day, if they take you on knowing you're asexual and don't want sex, they can change their mind about being in a relationship with you, but they shouldn't be trying to pressurize you to do something you don't want to do when you've clearly laid it on the line beforehand about you being asexual and what you like and don't like, right? Ari's story. Do you believe if a sexual person had a relationship with an asexual, it can work? And what do you think about being fair or not? I like to think it can. I don't have a lot of asexual friends or role models to point to such a relationship, but I hope so. I think it would come down to if the people could find a compromise to their mutual satisfaction. Is the asexual person willing to occasionally have sex with their partner? Is a sexual person willing to accept never having sex with their partner? I don't think it's a matter of fairness. That sounds like blaming the ace person for maliciously denying their long-suffering partner the sex they deserve, but compatibility. If a sexual person really wants a sexual partner as well as a romantic partner and the asexual person isn't comfortable with sexuality, then they should break up. It's not a matter of who's at fault. It's just incompatible orientations. Right, yes. So when I wrote that question, I didn't come at it from a point of view of it being unfair to sexuals. I came at it from a point of view of actually it could be very unfair to asexuals to get into a relationship with a sexual person, because an asexual would then probably feel some pressure to have sex, might feel guilty they're not giving their partner sex, might be trying really hard to still be affectionate with their partner without it leading to sex, trying to maintain their boundaries. It's very difficult. And also, an asexual person could be suing a relationship with another asexual person, but might have instead chosen to be with a sexual person. So that's a big risk for the asexual. So, yeah, I think if the sexual person really wants a sexual partner as well as a romantic one, and the asexual person isn't comfortable with sexuality, well, with sex, then they should break up. I agree that, if you're not compatible, if an asexual is very sex repulsed, the other person wants sex, that clearly isn't going to work. So you should break up. But better than that, don't get together in the first place. Lay it out on the line, what you like, what you don't like. And if you don't ever want sex ever, and they do at some point, then it's no good. Don't be with them, because it leads to heartache and pain. It's no good doing something temporary and they'd be like, oh, I'm okay without sex, and it'd be for like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months. Then they want it. You have to make it categorically clear that if you never want sex in your life and you're looking for a serious relationship, that you say that I'm looking for a serious relationship and I don't want sex ever. So I'm looking for a guy who can live without sex forever and not do that with other people if you're not comfortable with it and going and doing it with other people, which I personally wouldn't be. So I think it's very, very important before you get into a relationship, when you're at the dating stage, just let someone know you're asexual and what that entails. I'm on Badoo. I've just taken a break from Facebook dating. Was it 2 days ago? And I'm quite open and upfront on Badoo. I tell it like it is, and the fact that I don't want sex at all. No type of sex. The problem is a lot of guys on there aren't being honest about what they want, and they're conning me or trying to con me by saying, oh, but how do you know that I don't, how do you know that I'm not suitable for you? You say you want kids in your profile. Oh, I made a mistake. Oh, I didn't see that. This is a lot of the excuses they come up with. So don't fall for that, please. It's just ridiculous and rubbish. But personally, I think it's very difficult to get a relationship to work between an asexual person and a sexual person if the asexual is very sex repulsed, especially, and the sexual person needs sex. I mean, that really isn't going to work, unless they get their sex elsewhere. But I don't think that's good. So I think it depends on the people. I mean, there are some sexuals that are not that bothered because their sex drive is low or their interest in it is low. Then you could think, well, maybe they're actually on the asexual spectrum, don't realize it. It's possible. But don't believe everything they tell you, because heterosexuals will tell you a pack of lies just to end up getting you to have sex with them, so that they look like they're in favor with you, and telling you what you want to hear is what they think is good for them and you, but it's not. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful, helpful, insightful. If you have any way, shape, or form, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode, and share this video with anyone who you think may benefit from it. I'd love to know what you think. Do you think an asexual and sexual relationship can work? Vice versa? Post in the comments below. Let me know. Lots of love. Bye.